What? And go. Tell me when you're recording. You on?
I'm on.
Welcome to the podcast. My name is Chelsko.
And I'm Kate.
And we are here to talk about
And this is Raising Hell to
Evan. We are here to just shed some light on everything in life. Talk about all the topics. So, today's topic is, am I too much? So,
It's a big one. It's a big one because I think it's a question that, and I was actually just going to say women have, but I don't think it's just women. I think it's men as well. I was speaking to a guy friend of mine today, and this was kind of like the central theme, like that feeling of like, am I too much? Oof, is she going to like me because I've done this and because I've done that?
yeah.
I think the fear of rejection because of our pasts it's real, and a lot of people feel it.
Yeah. Well, also, especially with guys, now that you said that, I'm like, actually, yeah, like, with guys more than anything, because they feel like, well, guys can't triple text, or guys can't act clingy, or guys can't, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they get it even more. So, like, yeah, girls were constantly talking about, like, well, if I'm too much, blah, blah, blah. But society, I do think, generally speaking, allows us to be a little more than it allows men to be. You know what I mean? Like, guys can't, like, they can and they should, but, like, society makes it out to be like, oh, a guy who blows up your phone or something, automatically like, whoa, what's that? That's a lot. You know what I mean? Like, whereas a girl sends a long text, it's like, well, she's a female. Girls do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do. I don't know. I think that it comes. So, like, personally, when we first thought of this topic, I think a big thing for me was because and I've it's not like I haven't been a Christian. I've been a Christian my whole life, but because I recommitted to my faith properly, I would say this year. So I'm sort of counting it from my baptism, which was the 11th of February. Even though I was going to church before then, I really feel like that was my point of rebirth, and I started to wonder because I have had so many shifts in my own moral compass, in just how I perceive the world through reading and getting to know the word a bit better. And I do wonder, like, there was a fear in me where I'm like, oh, like, am I going to be able to marry a Christian, like a good, strong Christian man? Because, I've battled with addiction. Like, I've got a bit of a past.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know with me personally, like, I think that is a huge factor in why, actually, I was thinking about it recently, like, huge factor in why I dated the guys that I dated that had these issues. They loved Jesus, but they had serious issues. And I think when I was younger, like, I used to go to, like, church camps and this and that, and I noticed very early on, like, before I had any trauma or really anything to, like, you know what I mean? Like, just me as a person, I was too much for the Christian guys. Like, I remember, like, falling for, like, the sweet Christian boy, and he would reject me, but, like, troublemaker over there with all the tattoos loved me. And so, like, that trained me pretty early on, to be like, well, I'm gonna not go for the sweet Christian guy if they don't want me, Like, I feel like, and I don't know really what that is, but it's partially like we're always talking about society, right? And what these, like, social norms are, but there are social norms within the church, right? That make, like, certain people too much or not godly enough or this or that. Like, like I said, I was judged before I even did anything really wrong, just because of, I don't know, my personality. I was a little more, you know what I mean? Like, it's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of struggle with that because, for me, coming, really sort of deepening my faith meant forgiving myself, forgiving other people, and that's what's kind of set me free. It's also meant tolerance and it's meant acceptance. So I feel like my faith is actually making me a better person. Like I'm adding value to not only my life but to people around me's life, whereas before I don't really think that I was. So in that sense, to not be accepted because you don't fit like a mold, I still personally struggle with that. And I don't know if it's like I don't really think I'm that rebellious anymore. I feel like I've really quietened down, but I think that your religion should make you better. It should make you, more tolerant. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I still don't know, that I still need to study, so I don't want to speak out of turn, but I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, I think whatever you believe, it should make you a better person, not a worse person. And I think feeling like you're not good enough, that comes from a place of trying to shrink, to fit molds and to fit like relational dynamics with people who didn't know how to handle your fire and your strength,
Yeah.
So they had to keep you small. You had to keep yourself small. And I think you got to set yourself free.
100%. 100%.
My daughter popped into the room. So actually, I'm not sure what I was saying.
You were saying
I was speaking about having to mold and
Yes.
feeling too much because so much guilt gets placed upon us. And you know what? Nobody judges you more harshly than you judge yourself. So it's that negative self-talk, and I'm just speaking from personal experience, like always feeling like I was too much. But I think it's also because I met people who really didn't know how to handle me. I went for not the right ones. Just
Yeah.
say that. But thank you, I learned important lessons.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think there's definitely there's always room, right? There's always room for growth. So if you feel like you're too much, you first say like, is what I'm doing serving my higher power, serving my purpose? And if it is, then there's no reason to pull back, right? If you are truly in sync with your purpose in life and serving something bigger than yourself, then nothing you're doing can be too much, or if it is received as too much, that's okay. Let them go, wish them well. But there, I think also is room for growth. If I look back at my younger self, maybe there were some areas where I'm like, well, they don't like me, so I'm just going to keep being me and doing me. And like, if I'm too much for them, choose less. You know what I mean? Like that TikTok quote, but it's like, well, no, like let's pull back a little bit and realize like maybe some of the things you're doing, not you, but like me talking to myself, and maybe some of the things I was doing weren't in line with my higher purpose. Maybe they were trying to prove myself, trying to get validated, this and that. But if you're in complete and total alignment with yourself and your purpose and it's too much, then it's not too much. But I think it's always about recentering and finding your why. And as long as you're in line with that, everything that you're doing, you can feel at peace. So yeah, I mean, I feel like if you know your why, then you don't have to worry about it being too much. But there is a culture around, if I'm too much, find less, which is neglecting self-growth and analyzing like, is what I'm doing too much? Do I need to reanalyze why I'm doing what I'm doing? And I just think that there's always room for growth. And if you look around and see how people receive, a lot of people don't have any idea how people receive them. And if you take a moment to really analyze that, and in a way that isn't toxic, in a way that isn't controlling and stressing you out, but like, am I benefiting the people around me? Am I helping them be better people? Am I encouraging to them? Am I a blessing to them? Then first of all, you probably won't be perceived as too much. And if you are, then those aren't people that you need in your life.
Yeah, I think we have to stop fighting to hold on to the people that actually are not good for us and not serving us. And that is always hard, I think, for people starting out on this journey. And whether it's like the beginning of your faith journey or the beginning of like your self-improvement journey, transformation journey, whatever you want to call it, that's really difficult to start to let go of the people, places, things. And because we have this attachment, we don't want to let go of things. Like I knew I did, and I was just like, I really felt a huge loss letting go. And now, I mean, this time around, I was speaking specifically when I first, came into recovery 5 years ago. And this time, like this year, I just was like, when I found I wanted to change my life, I wanted to do that. I was ruthless with the people that I cut out. And I think it really came from this fostering of self-love and self-acceptance, because I value myself now and I accept myself. And if I'm too much for you, firstly, I don't believe in that. I just believe that I'm not for you. Like I'm not your person, and that could be a friendship, that could be a relationship, whatever it is. I have such a strong foundation within myself now. And I didn't know what this felt like 37 years. And now I finally know. I mean, obviously as a child, I probably knew what that felt like. But now I have that feeling. So saying no for me and putting up like those kind of boundaries that are healthy, between me and people that are not good for me or don't align with me, is so much easier than it was before. So just to tie that all together, the first step in this journey, I think, is forgiving yourself, accepting yourself, and then starting to love yourself.
I couldn't agree more. And I think it's what's really powerful, and what's been powerful for me, especially over these past couple months as I've really changed what's in my life. Like you're saying, you start to crave things that are better for you when you eliminate things that are not. And it's the same as a diet, it's the same. If you stop eating fast food and you start eating healthy foods that are nourishing for your body, a year from now, the smell of fast food is repulsive because your body readjusts and it knows what's good for you. But the reality is that the nervous system at first is used to that fight or flight, right? So we are used to certain things and it wants that more because it's a protection mechanism than it wants things that are good for it. But once you reprogram it, the cravings change. And I think it's the same with people and places and things. There are things now that aren't bad, just weren't really benefiting my overall purpose. Like maybe getting coffee or getting lunch with someone that were really just is there really a deeper friendship there? Or are we just kind of trying to make this acquaintance work kind of thing? Where now I just have no desire to stay busy and be doing things. It actually stresses me out more. It stresses me to go to a pointless lunch when I'm I could be doing something right now with this time that could be benefiting my why, my higher purpose, that down the line could help thousands of people, but instead I'm getting lunch because I felt the need to be trendy. I feel like as we go, like you said, as you really develop that self-worth and realize what you're here for, and especially when it's for something bigger than yourself, your cravings change and the energies you allow in your space change, and that it's a positive cycle instead of a backward, downward spiral.
Completely. I think also what I actually wanted to say now after just listening to you was I feel so full from God's love, and I never understood this. I would hear people saying this and I would be like, whatever, man. But now that I feel it, I am full. I'm full. So it's just my cup runneth over. I don't need from anybody else. And that is part of the freedom. So it's all this joyful deliciousness that I'm feeling inside. And let me tell you, it's not always like that, because there are dark days. The dark days come. I feel like it's so important to be present to these good feelings and to that love. because that's kind of what pulls you out when you're in a dark and twisty space.
Yeah, which will happen, right? Like literally, me. Like I don't know how many times it's happened in the past month where I just got in a place where I was like, I can't get out of bed, but then you reach down in there and you bounce back a lot faster. You know, there's days where I'm like, okay, I can't get out of bed, but maybe a couple of years ago I'd be like, I can't go out of bed to 9. Now I'm like, can't get out of bed. Okay, I couldn't get out of bed by 5, but I'm up at 6, and now we're going, you know, boom. Like, because there's a time crunch, and there's not necessarily a time crunch, but there is excitement in a bigger purpose.
Because you have your purpose.
Yes. Yeah.
Purpose.
We love purpose.
So happy. Yay.
It really is beautiful.
Yeah. And isn't it such a beautiful thing? It is just such a beautiful thing.
It's very profound, and it is so much bigger. It is so much bigger than our worst problems. And it's so reassuring. And I keep telling people lately, like, you know, it is so empowering to know that you're working on something, because even if you're not there yet, it is empowering to know you are doing something about it to get there. And that's all we can do, and that is a great feeling. Whether it's going to the gym or working on your mental health or working on your business, the feeling of doing that 1% a day, you know, eventually it's going to be 100%, and that is a great, great feeling. So.
And you know what? I think that ties into actually this whole topic, because I feel like the more you push for that, the more motivated you are to achieve. And the more, because obviously you don't see results right away, but then the more that does start to happen and you get the results and you get the positive feedback loop in your body. So your neurons are actually rewiring, like new neural pathways are forming. And that idea of, am I too much? It actually starts to lessen, because I notice with myself personally, like where I am now, it's not like a thing for me. Like I was interested in someone like a little while back, and it didn't kind of work, and I was just like, you know what, I have such trust in God and in my faith, and in like when it's the right time and it's my right person, that person's going to come, and I just let it go. And it is the most, for someone who personally, like I struggled with that, like I was very codependent, I needed the other, and to be free of that now is really, it's amazing.
It's freeing. It's empowering. It's freeing. It's just, yes. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, that's a wrap for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let us know if you have any comments. Comment and like below. Add questions. We love to respond and answer in other videos. And thank you for watching.
Yeah, send us questions. Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.